Hello students, welcome back to another social studies video. In this video, we will be looking at the CSEC Social Studies Paper 2, May 2018 past paper question on the topic Consumer Affairs. So specifically, we are looking at section C of the 2018 Social Studies Paper 2 paper. So if you have an interest in doing the essay from section C on the topic Consumer Affairs, this will be the video for you. Students, let us begin this paper. So the question is, in your essay, define the term consumer. State two categories of consumers that may benefit from the use of debit and credit cards. Explain two ways debit and credit card influences consumers' demand for goods and services. Finally, suggest three strategies that consumers may use to protect themselves when using debit and credit card to purchase goods and services. And the other part of the question is explain why each strategy suggested will be successful. This paper seems to be a quite easy paper to write an essay on. So before I give you some possible answers that you could write when you are sitting your examination in case you see these questions, I want to give you an opportunity to see if you can answer these questions on your own. Right? So exam is coming up and you have been studying, your teachers have been giving you the necessary notes that will assist you in your preparation for your examination. So I'm going to ask you now to get your book and your pen and answer these questions in your books. So the first question is, you're in your examination and you're seeing the question asking you to define the term consumer. I want you to write who is a consumer in your book now. While you're writing your definition for the term consumer, just a few pointers or tips when you're answering your essay or when you're writing your essay on your social studies examination. Remember that for each question, it should be written down in a new paragraph. So your first paragraph is your definition for the term consumer. Who is a consumer? All right, I guess you have that answer now. Next, in your second paragraph, I want you to state two categories of consumers that may benefit from the use of debit and credit cards. Two categories of consumers that may benefit from the use of debit and credit cards. And while you're answering this question in your notebook, another tip when you are writing your essay is that you should begin each answer in complete sentences. For example, when you're writing your essay, you'll begin your answer by saying, two categories of consumers are, or you may write, two categories of consumers that may benefit from the use of debit and credit cards are, and you state your answer. Students, we are at our third paragraph, and I know you guys are doing fantastic in answering these questions. So in your third paragraph, you're going to explain two ways debit and credit card influences consumers' demand for goods and services. So for this section or for this paragraph, I want you to look carefully at the verb explain, meaning that you're going to write a little more on your answers, right? So for each way, you're going to write a little more explanation of your answer. So you're writing two ways debit and credit card influences consumers' demand for goods and services. In your first answer, just write about 6 sentences on your answers in order for you to get full marks, because the verb in this part of the question is asking you to explain, to elaborate on your answer. So take your time, think about it. 2 ways consumers having a debit and a credit card can influence what goods they want to buy, what services they want to purchase, whether there will be high demand for a particular goods and services due to consumers using their debit or their credit cards. And remember that this is your 3rd paragraph. So for each answer, you're going to have 6 sentences. All right. Let us move on to our next question. Suggest 3 strategies that consumers may use to protect themselves when using debit and credit card to purchase goods and services. So for this part of the question, which is your 4th paragraph, you're going to remember, start the answer in complete sentences. Just write your answers. Just suggest your answers for this paragraph, because what happens is that sometimes a lot of students, they tend to write the strategies and the justification for the strategies in one paragraph, right? So when they ask you to suggest your strategies, just start your question, your answer in complete sentence and suggest your strategy. Next, explain why each strategy will be successful. This is where now in your final paragraph, you're going to justify each strategies that you have suggested. Why do you believe that these strategies that you have suggested is likely to work, is likely to be successful? All right. So now that you are finished writing your essay, I am going to show you what I have written down for these answers. And I know that you did very well in completing this essay. So define the term consumer. For my first paragraph, a consumer is a person or an individual who uses goods and services. That's it for my first paragraph. State 2 categories of consumers that may benefit from the use of debit and credit cards. So 2 categories of consumers that may benefit from the use of debit and credit cards are individuals, organizations, businesses could also benefit from having a debit and a credit card. These are just some of the answers that you could use when you're sitting in examination and you are seeing questions that are similar to this. So in our next paragraph, we are asked to explain 2 ways debit and credit card influences consumers' demand for goods and services. 2 ways debit and credit card influence consumers' demand for goods and services are: they are convenient and consumers are able to shop without cash. So now we're going to elaborate on our 2 answers, because the verb in this question is asking us to explain. So I start to elaborate on my answers by saying, firstly, consumers are able to use their debit card and credit card as frequently as they wish without carrying large amount of cash around. Hence, consumers can always purchase goods and services that they demand without having cash to purchase it. Secondly, having a debit and a credit card influences consumers' demand for goods and services because they are convenient. Because of globalization, right? Access to a debit and a credit card makes shopping for consumers convenient, meaning that consumers can shop on the internet from the global market at the comfort of their homes with just a touch of their, of their fingertip. So they do not have to worry that they want to buy something from the market, the United States market, from USA, but because they do not have the US currency to do so, they are unable to shop. So the advantage of having a debit and a credit card is that consumers can just put in their debit and credit card information online, and they're able to buy goods and services that they demand, which will reach their homes, right? Reach their homes without them having to visit the country that they're buying the goods and services from. Finally, suggest 3 strategies that consumers may use to protect themselves when using debit and credit card to purchase goods and services. All right, we know about we know about cyber crimes becoming a thing now on the internet. So as a consumer, when you are using your debit and credit card and to make purchases, most of the time you have to put in your personal information. It is important that you protect yourselves, especially from identity theft, right? So 3 strategies that consumers may use to protect themselves when using debit and credit card to purchase goods and services are, and this is all I have been telling you to write your strategies. Strategy 1, never disclose your debit or credit card PIN to anyone, especially online. Your PIN number, when we talk about PIN number, we're talking about a number that is assigned to your card. It is never, and it is important that consumers know this, that your PIN number is never needed by a bank unless you're using your card at a machine. Strategy 2, oh, and I just write my justification for strategy 1. So strategy 1, justification for never disclosing your debit or credit card PIN to anyone, especially online. This strategy will work because once you do not share your secret PIN number, you will be protected from scamming and losing your hard-earned money to unscrupulous people. That's it. So in my first paragraph is my strategy. In my second paragraph is my justification for that strategy. Strategy 2, when shopping online, most websites will ask if you want to save your card information for further transactions. It is important that you never save any personal information online. Justification for this strategy. This strategy will work because you will be protected from cybercrime in case the company that you have shopped with online falls victim to cybercrime. Your account will not be affected because you did not save your information. Strategy 3, or precaution 3. Before deciding to conduct business online, it is important that you check the legitimacy of the site that you are going to shop on to purchase goods and services. Justification for this strategy will work because it is important to ensure that the website is secure, because there are many sites that are being created by scammers that looks like the real website. And I have given you a 4th strategy or 4th precaution. Be careful of identity theft and operate error when conducting business online. Justification for this strategy will be successful because sometimes elderly persons may not be computer illiterate, so that because they're not computer literate, most of the times we notice that they fall victim of identity theft due to them using wireless internet connections that are not secured. So we have come to the end of our strategies and our justifications. I know that you have an extra strategy or an extra precaution that consumers can take when using their debit and credit